Hey guys, and welcome to another Your Tech Report video. And today, as you might be able to tell, we're taking the scene outdoors because we're going hands-on or wheels-on with this BMW X3 with the M40i performance package. Now, the X3 has been completely redesigned for 2018. A lot of the things that people were complaining about in the 2017 model have been updated for the 2018 model, including two trims, two engine models, so to speak. We've got a 2-liter engine that's got about 254 horsepower, and then we have this bad boy with the M40i performance package that gives you 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in about 4.5 seconds. When you take a look at the front of the X3 2018 model, you can see right away, especially on the performance model, that the whole grille has been redesigned. You've got this new kind of matte aluminum finish for the actual front grille. The M40i performance package gives you this aggressive front fascia, which is really, really cool and really iconic to BMW. They call this the ultimate driving machine. When you get behind the wheel of this thing, I promise you, it's an absolute great experience. Of course, along with the M40i package, you get obviously the high performance. You got the M badging on the side here. You've got the matte kind of aluminum finish that matches the front grille as well as body markings throughout the entire side and back of the car. Around the windows, you got this kind of piano black finish, which continues onto the interior and offers an interesting contrast as opposed to those aluminum shiny finishes. The M badging continues onto the wheel itself, plus if you can see inside here, you got blue calipers on all of them, which is part of the M Performance Package enhanced braking experience. These are the optional 21-inch mags, but they have options at 20 inches as well. The dual performance exhaust kind of rounds out the back of this vehicle. It gives it a nice aggressive design throughout that continues not only in the front that we saw earlier, but all the way through the back and around the car. There are a lot of finishings to pay attention to on the inside of this vehicle, and that really starts with the entire digital dashboard. The dashboard has a traditional layout, but everything is electronic and digital, so they can modify this depending on the modes that you're in. If you switch driving modes, for example, right now we're in comfort and we go to eco mode, you can see how the dash itself actually modifies what it's showing you as a result of the driving mode that you're in. Plus, you can customize this to a certain extent through the actual infotainment system, which we'll get to in a couple minutes. The car features an auto-off start system, which you can disable right here underneath the start-stop engine button. I find this a bit annoying, but it does save on fuel, and it has proven to be economical, so people do tend to like it. The thing that I really dislike about this feature is that when the engine does stop and it stops revving, you seem to lose control of the steering on some models. In this model, it doesn't have that, so you still have your power steering fully enabled, but there is a little bit of a delay when you start to accelerate after you've used this feature. The infotainment system in the center cluster on this model takes a lot of design cues from the 7 Series of last year, which featured all the latest technology that BMW has to offer. When you look at the infotainment system right now, because we're parked, we see the rear view camera, plus we see the overhead 360. This gives you a great indication of what's behind you, and obviously an indication of what's around you, thanks to all the cameras that are positioned around this car. This button lets you enable and disable different modes and different levels of sensitivity to sensors around the vehicle. This is, for example, people running into the actual car, running into the street. You can configure the individual mode right here, and that lets you see all the list of sensors that you can control. Pedestrian warning active, front collision warning, lane departure warning, steering intervention allows it to actually, when you're going to drift out of your lane, it'll take control of the steering for you and bring you back into your lane, blind spot detection, and a whole slew of different features that are here to protect you in your car. As you move down the center console, you've got your typical radio. Your CD player here is still front loading. You've got your favorite radio stations down here, which allows you to combine not only AM and FM, but satellite radio as well, which is included in this model, in this configuration. Moving down, you've got dual zone climate control with air conditioned and heated seats. For some reason, you can have both on at the exact same time. Not sure exactly what that attains. Go a little further down the instrument cluster and you can see the M badging right there. And this interesting compartment over here. We'll get to that in a second. You've got your traditional shift knob over here, which lets you control, obviously, what gear you're in. Your slip control is over here. Your drive modes are over here between sport, comfort, and eco mode. Plus there's an adaptive setting as well. Anytime you press something here, it'll actually adjust on the screen, so you can control exactly what you want to do in terms of the actual features of that driving mode. This is sport. Each mode has an individual setting, so you can customize it. This is comfort, and then you have the economic mode, which is a fuel efficient setting that controls the engine and various elements of the car to make sure you're consuming as little amount of fuel as possible. To the right of the shift knob, you've got that original jog wheel. This jog wheel was present on older model BMWs and allowed you to navigate the infotainment system with a left and a right, and of course an up, down, left, right there as well. Well, they've enhanced this as well because it allows you to actually spell things. There's actually a touchpad here that lets you spell things when you're looking for things. For example, if we go to navigation over here, we can do a quick search and we can actually start writing things on the navigation. And we can actually start writing things like Elm.
L M.
So it's actually letting me draw the letter
A B C.
It's showing me what I'm drawing up there on the actual system, and it lets me use that as a shortcut to find what I'm looking for. This is handy, especially if voice control isn't doing exactly what you want it to do. Just another input method they've offered BMW drivers to use in their new vehicle. If you look here, I like how they haven't used fake carbon fiber trimming, and instead what they've done is it's kind of this matte finish that matches the exterior mirror and the front grille, which is kind of interesting and definitely something that suits the car quite nicely. You've got leather-wrapped dashboard here, a leather-wrapped steering wheel as well. The steering wheel has various elements of control as well. You've got cruise control on your left-hand side. You've got a wheel up and down to control various elements depending what menu you're in. On the right-hand side of the steering wheel, you can control the radio mode, the volume, you can answer the phone, you can trigger the microphone, and the steering wheel is actually heated as well, which is a cool option, especially in cold climates. Now, since everything works together, when you actually trigger something here, you can see right on your center dash, it says steering wheel heat activated. So everything works in conjunction with each other so that you know exactly what's going on without having to look very far. So let's get back to this closed area for a second here. If you actually open this compartment over here, you've got your cup holders, 2 cup holders. You've got a USB jack over there so you can plug your phone in. This car does feature CarPlay and Android Auto, but one of the cool features is this is an actual wireless charging tray. So when you pop your phone down there, it shows you that it's actually charging the phone wirelessly, which is really cool. Don't need to plug a phone in. Unfortunately, in some cars, you'd say, okay, a wireless charging tray is great, but how do I, make sure that I'm using Android Auto and or CarPlay? Well, this car features wireless CarPlay. There we go, full access to CarPlay like you would over a hardwired cable, except this is doing it completely wirelessly, which is such a freeing experience. You don't have to worry about taking your phone out of your pocket if you don't want to. You just walk in the car and go. CarPlay enhancements are actually more than just the fact that it's wireless and you've got wireless charging. Go to Maps, for example, and choose a destination. You see there's an option here for BMW Nav. Well, if you press this option, it actually opens this destination in BMW's proprietary navigation. You don't have to worry about using Apple CarPlay and therefore using your data. You can have the BMW navigation take you exactly where you want to go, all courtesy of Apple CarPlay. This brings us to the whole infotainment system in general. The infotainment system in BMW is absolutely phenomenal. Now it's a 12-inch touchscreen. You can actually scroll left and right. You've got connected drive, which are connected BMW features. This is actual connected features such as weather, news, sports clipping, online search for things around your area that uses built-in cellular technology that is in the car. You don't have to worry about your phone for this one. It'll give you that information whenever you need it. Plus, it can even communicate software updates. I had a map update while reviewing this car, which is pretty cool. You've got navigation over there, which shows you a screenshot of what's going on. Notifications. If there's any car notifications, it'll tell you. In this case, it's saying that we need to change the engine oil in 1,600 kilometers, and it tells you right then and there. You can also choose to see other information, tire pressure monitor, engine oil level, and any other warnings as well. Plus, when you go back to the home screen, you can choose things like communication. That'll bring up, obviously, CarPlay and your own phone and BMW Assist, BMW Messages, Concierge, things that BMW can push directly to you if they need to. Plus, media lets you choose from obviously everything that's playing on your actual car, so satellite radio, AM, FM, your music collection if you want to store something on the car's hard drive, now playing in Apple CarPlay. You've got Bluetooth devices that have been used before, you've got screen mirroring on Android. In the media area, you can control the tone, whether you want to raise the treble, the bass, you can control the whole EQ of everything that's in here. There's a Logic 7 surround sound system thanks to Harman Kardon, which is really, really cool. Plus, when you go to My Vehicle, not only do you see stats about your vehicle, but you can actually control things about the car. For example, in iDrive settings, you can control mobile devices, your wireless charging tray, gestures, the touchpad, the different displays that you have here. You can control the contents of the main menu. How do you want things to appear? Where do you want things to appear? You can create driver profiles for more than one person who drives the car, and that can be stored within the actual key itself. So depending who unlocks the car, they'll actually have their profile, including everything from seat location, etc., etc. Technology in action allows you to see different things about the actual car itself. You can see xDrive status. Because this is a four-wheel drive, it can show you the angle in which your car is on an elevation. You can see sports displays, which will show you the horsepower and the pound-feet of torque. And when you actually rev the engine, you can see that in action. And you could have that on all the time if you wanted to. You could even split the screen of the navigation and see, for example, navigation data on the right, or I can swipe up here and it'll give me different options as to what I want to see in my split screen. I could see an arrow display, I could see my position, I could see various pieces of information that I want there as well. Plus, you always have this snapshot up here. If you take a look at the top here, you can see that there's some kind of driver warning, there's a cellular signal, 90s is what I'm listening to, the time that it is now. Very, very cool system. I mean, everything up until fragrance control is available in this vehicle, which is cool. The technology really continues on the outside of the vehicle because you can do things like pop your foot down below the trunk and it actually opens the trunk for you. Not only that, some vehicles let you do that, but you still have to push that button to close it. In this case, you don't have to. You can actually swing your foot underneath it. It'll start beeping and it'll actually close the trunk for you. We talked about the camera system that we saw inside. You can see there's a rear view camera right over here. You can see the camera on the right side here as well. You could see the M badging on the side there. You could unlock and lock the car just by touching the handle as long as the key is inside your pocket. We saw the wheels, of course. We saw the front as well. But notice in the front as well, you can see all the sensors that are involved in this car. You've got a collision sensor over there. You've got all your parking sensors over there. You got a camera behind that one over there. You got a camera right behind the center grille. So there is definitely not lacking any technological features in this brand new BMW X3 M40i. So this is of course a BMW, so you have to ask yourself, how does the car drive? To describe the drive of a vehicle is something rather difficult to do in a video, something hard to do in audio. It's something you really kind of got to get your hands behind the wheel and your butt in the seat in order to really, really feel. But if I were to try and describe this best way possible, I would say this car is extremely well balanced. Now, this car is pretty low to the ground, so it does give you an advantage in that aspect. But when you hit that accelerator in sport mode and you hear the rev of that engine, that roar of those exhausts, you realize that this is not an ordinary crossover SUV. This is a BMW. This is why they call them ultimate driving machines. This car roars, this car excites you, and this car is a lot of fun to drive. You almost forget that you're in an SUV, and you think that you're in a small sports car on the highway and no one else is on the road. So all in all, this is really a great experience from BMW. The new X3, especially with the M40i performance package, is a car to get used to. I mean, you're going to get behind the wheel of this car. You're not going to feel like you're in a crossover SUV. You're going to feel like you're in a sports car, especially when you enable that sports mode. All the bells and whistles available to you, as they have been adopting them throughout the entire BMW line. It started with the 7 Series that we reviewed about a year ago, and it made its way down to the 3 Series, the 5 Series, etc., etc. Next, we're going to be doing the X2, which we're really excited about because that's a bit smaller of a compact SUV and has all these bells and whistles plus a lot more that we're going to get hands-on with. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. We love bringing you these videos. We love going hands-on with things like these cars and bringing them to you. So please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. That way you get instantly notified when we have a brand new video to share with you. Thank you for watching this one, and we will see you on the next video.